Well, he can't hear it now.
Yeah, what if you just email me the album? We'll just listen to it. We'll do a live reaction to the album.
Reaction leak video.
Reaction videos are hot right now.
Oh, yeah,
That's what's up.
We could do that.
How did the whole rest of the stream go there?
It was wild.
Yeah.
It was a wild ride. Mr. Toad's wild ride.
Yo, shout outs to Disney. I'm going in a couple months. I'm stoked.
Hey.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a really cool experience.
Yeah, for before we get into all of that, we'll start the conversation there. But first, I think I should probably do this. Hello and welcome to Start the Beat with Sykes. My name is Sykes, and this is my podcast. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank everyone who checked out the last episode. If you're one of the people who listened to that conversation, I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks so much for listening. But for those of you out there who are new to the show, welcome. Please feel free to make yourselves at home. And as always, there's beer and soda and vitamin water in the fridge. Raise your cups, your glasses. Cheers to my friends.
Hey.
In one way or another, returning to the show for the fourth time, making them technically, start the beat goats in one way or another.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Or the woats.
My dudes, Barz, Blackman, Lazy JP, BBGUNS, make some noise.
Hey. Greetings. Salutations.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
Feel like I should have got like some toy rings and came in like I was MJ or something.
Oh yeah, you could have been flossing real hard. So for those of you that don't know BBGUNS, they are a hip hop duo based out of Pittsburgh, PA, where we are taping this lovely show today. Shout outs to the Steel City. They have just released a new album called Help Yourself, which is the main reason that they are here. I know the album's not out yet, but I think it will be out by the time this airs, correct?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
out.
that's right.
It's out as far as the world's concerned.
It's out in the world?
No, not. Yeah.
I'm confused.
Not in this timeline at least.
You see?
Yes, it's out. Listen to it.
It's out.
But yeah, they are a hip hop duo based out of Pittsburgh, PA. They've been on the show several times, either solo or together and whatnot. And with all that being said, there really isn't a whole lot for us to dig into regarding, the history of the band. I know your stories. I know where you're coming from and all that stuff. But we were at the top of the conversation. I mentioned that you actually just did a 24-hour live stream to promo the album.
Yeah, I did do that. That
was fucking crazy. That's such a good idea. And I want to know how that went for you. You had me. Thank you, by the way. I was there. I performed some songs at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
I forgot. Yeah.
I was a small part of your day.
Yeah, it was nice. I think I set it up pretty well. It wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't that hard. Like it wasn't as hard as you think it would be. Because I don't know. You've probably done it all nighter before. You've gone out, with friends partying or whatever, and you were out till like 5. It's only just a few hours longer than that. Just spacing out people throughout the day to keep me entertained or to give me breaks. Like when there was musical guests, I could walk away.
Was there any like one standout moment from the day that was like either like really awesome or like really terrible?
Nothing was terrible. Nothing was terrible at all. I guess I was getting a little cranky at the end with Richard. It was like 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. and he brought this like big sack of games. We had 3 hours to play after like Logan just did his set and hung out for a little bit and left. And I just like, he kept suggesting stuff and putting stuff in. And I'm just like, I don't like this. I don't want to play this. It was like, I was just over it by that point. But honestly, it was really fun. I think the best part was Logan sound came, and then Joel was on the voice chat, and I think TJ might have been, our friend TJ was on the voice chat, and then Econo Miles came on the voice chat, and we were all BSing, having a good old time, and cracking jokes, and I was just giggling.
Yeah, it was great.
It was a really good, really fun time. I don't know how entertaining it was, but at the end of it, Logan was playing beats, and Econo freestyled through Discord onto the beat, and it was pretty fucking cool.
That's awesome. It's like I'm most impressed that we can do that and it without too many latency issues and it can work.
Yeah,
That's the wild part.
I'm
For real.
yeah, shouts out to good internet. I'm glad I paid for good internet. But yeah, it feels like running a TV show, and it's amazing that it doesn't take that much. Like my equipment isn't that high end. Like you only need a couple $100, and you can, you can do this.
Oh yeah,
you can do the same thing.
It's really, really crazy how accessible really good technology is nowadays. And it's funny because shit that we'll complain about nowadays is like, that doesn't look good. 10 years ago, we would have probably been throwing out like $500 for that shit. And
I remember the tiny little videos, like they were they were like so pixelated. You watch a music video on like Windows Media Player.
Yeah, or like you have the CD, like enhanced
I was
CDs.
gonna say that enhanced CD. I remember I had a Backstreet Boys one, and there was a music video, and it was just like 8 pixels.
Was that your first enhanced CD?
Yeah, I guess NSYNC and Backstreet Boys were like the only two that I had.
Yeah, I remember my first enhanced CD was Korn's "Life Is Peachy."
Whoa!
And I remember it was the first time I ever saw they had like a little enhanced CD. They had a logo that they put on the back
it was
of
like
CDs.
an ECD,
And I had never seen it before, and I remember seeing it, and I didn't quite understand what it was. And I saw a thing about like, to play the CD in your computer, you need certain things, and I had no idea what was on the CD. All I knew was if I put the CD into a computer, something would happen. So I remember I didn't have a computer. So my grandma took me to the library so I could put this Korn CD.
That is an excellent story.
In the library computer, and then watch
this.
And it had a music video for that "All Day I Dream About Sex" song on it.
Oh man!
And it's so funny because like the first scene in that is like a crime scene.
Yeah,
it's like like somebody like pushing a dead body on a stretcher, and I was like, I was probably like 9 or 10. My grandma was off the chain though. She didn't give a shit. She took us to
Did
go
she
see.
watch it?
She didn't watch it. She wasn't paying attention, but she was like the type of grandma that like we could listen to ICP around her, and she thought it was funny. And she took us to go see.
A cool grandma.
Oh yeah, she took us to. She was the only parent that would take us to go see the South Park movie when it came out. So she was our guardian for the South Park movie.
That's
she thought
cool.
thought it was funny. She got it. She liked Cartman. My grandma was a Cartman fan.
I like it.
Yeah, sounds like a cool granny.
Yeah, my grandma would never.
Yeah.
Charlotte would not have gone to go see
I
the
could probably
South Park movie.
I could maybe have talked my grandma into it, but she would have felt weird about it.
I did finesse my granddad into buying me Doom though.
Okay.
He bought me
Really?
Doom. Yeah, he bought me Doom 3 for my birthday.
Oh, Doom 3. Wow.
And I went home.
How'd you pull that off?
I was just like, hey, it's my birthday. Can you take me to the store to go get a game? He's like, yeah, okay. So I went ahead, and my birthday's in August. So this was like still like, just go first thing in the morning, like before school, came back in. And I just went ahead, and that's the game I picked. And he was just like, are you sure you can have this? Your mom's okay with that? I was just like, yeah. She said it was fun. Trust me, it's great. and then I was probably like 11, 12, maybe 13 at the oldest at the time. And he went upstairs because they didn't have central air for a long time. So my granddad had a window air conditioner in his room. So we'd run away in there in the summertime when it got too hot, leave the rest of us to fucking die in the living room. And it got hot. It got real hot in that house. And I like closed all the blinds, like turned off all the lights and made it like as dark as I could. And I was sitting there like shitting myself playing Doom.
Yeah, that was a scary game. It was more spooky.
It was like super. It was like all jump scares because it was like super dark and it was mostly just like
you had to
see
use
the
that
red flash
flashlight.
and then and you couldn't just couldn't put the flashlight on your gun because that would be too simple, right? So you have to like have your flashlight. Oh shit, there's something. Switch, boom.
Shoot
now
in the
it's
dark.
pitch black. I don't know where anything else is coming, but I love that game. I love it.
They
Shouts
made
out my granddad.
They made a version.
Hell yeah.
They made a version later where they put a flashlight on the gun.
Yeah, it was a mod on the PC
Or the
version for a
BFG
long
edition.
time.
The BFG edition.
Yeah,
has
they put the
that.
flashlight on the gun.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
God.
not. No, it's not the pure experience.
Well, we used to play co-op on it, and then one person would just hold the flashlight, and the other person would go ahead and hold the gun, and that's how you. And then if you had like boss fights were always fairly well lit for that game, at least, so you didn't really need the flashlight for that. But I remember there was especially a part in the beginning where this whole area was pitch black. Like there wasn't any sort of light at all. You couldn't even see like the red flashes whenever like shit would appear.
Okay.
And you had to, otherwise you would either fall or get jumped.
Yeah, dude, coming up, I was never a big first person shooter growing up or ever, honestly.
I was when I was younger, and now I hate them.
Really? Yeah, I don't know. It never appealed to me.
Like,
Did
I'm
you?
anti now. Like,
Okay.
I just,
Okay. All right. I get it. You know, we don't got to start any controversy with first person shooters. I don't want to create a rift between the BB guns. Over,
my dad
shooter hatred.
My dad played the original Doom on and Wolfenstein, the 3D a lot. So that was like one of the my earliest game memories. So I'd watch my dad play it. And then that was like one of my first games that I got to play. And then like Quake and Unreal Tournament. And then Halo was like a big thing at my school. There was like Halo lands were like a big part of a certain thing in my life where like everyone would try to see whose parents so they could con into letting like 8 kids come over their house.
Eat like pizza and play Halo.
Honestly, we tried to get up to 16 people and they wouldn't even know. I tricked my dad once. I was like, yeah, can just have a few friends over. We're going to play some games. And then people just kept coming.
Hell yeah.
And then next like a kid with the TVs walking up, like another kid with an Xbox and a TV. Like that was the shit. Like we would, I was terrible at it, but you'd have two rooms. The door, there'd be a wall separating, so the 2 teams could talk, and you couldn't hear the other team unless someone was screaming, and it was awesome. But then online gaming came, and all that shit stopped.
Yeah, is that what you think that killed it?
I don't know. I don't really. I guess I don't.
I think the internet killed a lot of social interaction in general.
Well, you still interaction, but
it's just not the same.
It's not being good at the game didn't matter to me when I was playing with my friends.
Okay.
In real life, but when it was like getting killed by strangers every day, it wasn't fun to me anymore.
Sure.
So I like RPGs because I can just take my time and make choices.
Yeah, I was always a lot more into RPGs and fighters and
I like Final
games,
Fantasy.
stuff like that, yeah.
I did like RPGs always too, but there was a time where first person shooters were like right up there.
I think it makes sense if it was like, the group of people that you were around when you were growing up. If they were into it, I think it's really easy to kind of get into it. I had some friends that were getting into Halo when it came out, but that came out I think right after or right before I graduated high school. So, I was already like working and starting to get into music, and I think I just kind of missed it. I feel like if something like that and my friends would have gotten into that just a few years earlier, like if I was like 16 and we had nothing else better to do, I probably would have been eventually gotten all in on that shit.
And it was like I was in middle school at the time, so like I don't remember who I was just talking to this with, but like middle school is like the best time of your life because you're like old enough that you can do shit and you like you can learn about shit, you can do shit, you can go places, but you don't have to have a job.
Oh,
so
fuck
like,
yeah.
So like summers were just nonstop awesome fun.
Oh, fuck
and
yeah,
like,
dude.
And you're just like meeting girls, like that was just starting, like it was great.
Yeah,
great
dude.
times.
I remember fucking like my summer in between 9th and 10th grade was like that's like my like the peak if we want to talk about like youth for me. That was like all we fucking did was like we would fucking take the bus out to Monroeville Mall, walk to Home Depot, fill up our backpacks with spray paint, walk out, go underneath the bridge, paint, go home, and just play like Tony Hawk and like listen to heavy metal.
Such a cooler middle schooler.
You had a way iller middle school experience.
I would ride my bicycle to the Highlands Mall, which was not even a mall. It was like 5 stores, and there was a trading card store there, like sports cards, and we'd play Magic all day long.
Dude, I had a Magic streak up until probably about 7th or 8th grade, and then I got into it a little bit after. But I was playing Magic. I was like, I started one like revised and 4th edition was a thing.
Damn, dog. Woo,
yeah,
that's ages ago.
You were in there. You were in the shit.
I fucking loved Magic. I would play Magic now if I had some fucking people to play with. But the game's completely different.
Oh yeah, same. We have cards and we play like decks that are like evenly matched for fun for us.
We'll build stuff out of like the spares too.
But if you want to be competitive,
Yeah.
If you want to be competitive, it's not fun.
Yeah,
if you have
no,
money
and
to
it-
throw at it, you can just. Be
That
the
was
best
actually I went.
motherfucker ever.
Yeah, I did some Magic tournaments when I was like in 7th and 8th grade.
Same, I did too.
And yeah, it was looking back on it, I can't believe some of like the old mean people that I dealt with. Like I had some people that were just like straight rude to me on the table, which I
Oh,
guess it's
yeah.
fine, but it's like I would have been like if I was like playing like a fucking 12-year-old, I would have been like okay, like whatever.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
I was exposed to a lot of older kids that way. Like I think I started playing Pokemon first, and but then you saw the older high school, older middle school kids playing this cooler game that was more complex.
Oh, dude.
So then I wanted to be cool and older too.
Speaking of Final Fantasy and Magic the Gathering and just the whole concept of spoiling things, I remember I just had this memory. I'm just going to throw it at you.
Throw it.
Specifically, the first time something got spoiled for me was actually at it was a Friday night Magic or something like that I was at, and it was when I was just playing Final Fantasy VII, and I was talking with the person I was playing against. And I was playing Final Fantasy VII. He was like, "Oh, did you get to the part where Aerith dies yet?"
Wow,
Dude,
see, I had
was
that
like-
long spoiled for me.
and I was just like, "Yeah."
G-Force
kept
spoiled that shit.
Meanwhile,
That's
on the
crazy.
inside, you're like crying. You're like, what?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you're probably getting so attached to the characters.
But like now, like to this day, I can't think about somebody talking about something being spoiled without thinking about that dude's fucking stupid face while I'm playing Magic the Gathering telling me about that. It's like stuck with me.
That's if
To
you
this
had it in the
day.
yeah,
dictionary,
that's
that's
crazy how
what it would be for
memories
you.
memories like that work, because that really mattered to you. You know, obviously really mattered to you.
It was just like the first time, there's like a lot of like first times that stick with me. Like the first time I, realized that could be a thing, that somebody could ruin something for you like that.
Yeah.
Like, and having that feeling, I had never felt that before.
Yeah, it's
Do you remember anything ever being spoiled for you?
I think I like it. I think I've always liked I always liked knowing.
Well,
things.
now I'm like so jaded, and like I like put no emotional investment towards anything that's like pop culture related. So it's like I'm like whatever.
and maybe
I
that's what
seek
it is.
I've always seeked it out.
But
Yeah.
and maybe
Sorry, go ahead.
no, maybe that is what it is for me. Like I don't get too emotionally invested. So like if something gets spoiled, I'm like okay, but I still like to see like how we get to that point for myself. Like I want to see. I do it with myself with anime. Like I'll go ahead and be like, well, I want to know now what happens, and I know that the manga's ahead, so I'll like go ahead and like do my research. But I
Same.
still want to see it brought to life on the screen because something, like a picture on a page is completely different from like a moving piece, like a whole animation and everything. So it's just like more interesting for me to see it that way.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I feel like someone's description is not gonna get every single detail or whatever.
Totally.
Or like same with the manga thing. Like I've just spoiled Attack on Titan for myself. So and I'm okay with it. I seeked it out. I sought it out.
It's
And
like you're able to like continue watching it, but through a different lens, like almost like knowing what's going to happen, or just having a better understanding of like, oh, the story is getting to this point, so it's worth to continue watching it.
yeah, like know the story beats, but like seeing it on screen, like it can be elaborated on, it can be interpreted a different way. It can be there's a lot of ways that it can go, and it can like that's what I'm interested in. Is like, is there going to be any more nuggets of information that I can pull from this lore wise? I usually get obsessed with the world and the lore, and I just want to know all the little details about it.
Sure. I can get into that. And the other thing with me, and maybe both of you can relate to this, is like I watch movies and engage with things from like a behind the curtain perspective now, where like I'm watching something and I'm thinking about, oh, like how did they draw that, or like how did they light this shot in this movie, like all the like nerdy technical stuff. So it's like even if I know what happens, I'm still stoked to just watch something, because it's like I'm still watching art, and it's cool to see it unfold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's similar. It's similar to that. I'm not like I don't know like a whole lot about like the technical side of like filmmaking and stuff like that. But it's interesting to go ahead and like pick the and like look at those sort of things, be like, wow, this is like a cool, like this was a really great shot, and and just appreciating what it took to like bring these scenes and stuff to life.
What about with music? Do you find yourself listening to music differently now that you've like
I definitely do.
that you've like gone into that realm? 'Cause I mean, that is again, kind of steering the conversation back to the two of you being, musicians, rappers. creators in that world, you know, how do you engage with other music nowadays?
I think more. I don't know, because more. I think more so. When I like something, like I'm really really into something, I want to more so reverse engineer that than like I'm listening to something new and I'm immediately picking up on like technical things. With hip hop, I think it's different, like in terms of like technical rapping or something like that. I know that's a thing for you. But as far as like when I hear a song or a sound, or like a musician, an artist sound that I really like, I'll latch onto that and keep listening and try to like figure out what it is that I'm really into about it and try to like find how you do that. Like, how do you make this sound, or how do you do this? And I'll ask Charlie or ask somebody who knows more about music than I do, because like, and then we talk about it and we talk about, well, how can we make that happen?
Totally.
Yeah. I kind of, for a long time, that sort of thing, whenever it came to like listening to rap, like took precedent for me, and it honestly like ruined a lot of things. So I kind of had to like unlearn to do that and just like learn to listen to something. And if I like it, then like listen to it again and like dive deeper to see what is there and what isn't there, so that I can be able to appreciate it for what it is instead of what it isn't.
Yeah. I definitely try to turn that off sometimes, so I can just like take in a piece for what it is, and then like, watch it again, listen to it again, and then to figure out what it is, each time again and again, get a little bit deeper with it.
Because I fucking love 21 Savage, and he doesn't be rapping like almost ever. But there's just something about, but I just love his energy, his deliveries, the flows that he uses, and there's a lot of things about it that I like, and I can genuinely just sit down and bop to it and just enjoy it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's two different things in a same category. You know what I mean? It's like it'd like being mad at a cookie for not being a cake.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like they're both desserts, but they're just two different things. You know,
if you
sometimes
you eat cake.
Yeah, like a cake, you got to really engage with the cake. You got to make sure you have enough space to take it in and, indulge in the flavor. A cookie's just kind of like a little snack. Like, I can have one or two of those real quick.
But what about a cookie cake?
I was just going to say that. You can put them together. You can put them together.
Sometimes you have that fusion of...
You can. There's nothing wrong with that.
And that can create a whole new thing.
Yeah. I mean, all those things are great. There ain't nothing wrong with any of those things.
Yeah, all of it. Exactly. And I think if you keep an open mind, that's what will happen as you see these combinations of cookies and cakes and ice creams and cakes. Yeah, like, those are great. A la mode, all that's great. But ice cream cake, also great.
So here's an important question.
I love it.
All right. If BBGUNS was a food, what would it be?
If BBGUNS was a food?
Yeah, I don't know. We have to like confer on this for like a moment.
That's fine. We got time.
I feel like it'd have to be something that was like homey, but not just like regular typical homey shit. It would have to be like some sort of like weird, insane ramen bowl.
Either some
or like some sort of crazy burger. Wild shit.
I see it one of two ways. Something, like noodle based, because with like our love of Naruto shonen animes, where everyone eats ramen. But I would say something like blue collar, something homey. I'm a big fan of comfort food, so like like a hoagie and fries from a bar or something like that. I'm a big hoagie. I'm Italian hoagie.
Some sort of a sandwich would be dope.
Sandwich, yeah.
That's a goal. That's actually a goal. I want to have a sandwich for us at some point.
A nice sandwich and some bar fries. Nothing fancy.
Yeah,
just something that gets it done, and it's good every time.
Okay,
sandwich.
I'll take that.
We're a sandwich of what kind though? We need to what?
Yeah,
you got to build this Krabby Patty. You know what I'm going to say? Ham and salami.
See,
when we're on tour, I make ham and salami sandwiches
all day,
and then I put ketchup on them for me, that's only for me.
Ham and salami,
cheese,
just standard American cheese,
usually,
and ketchup.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
But like without the ketchup is more normal.
Word.
I can't do the ketchup, man.
So
we do mayonnaise sometimes too.
what is your condiment of choice?
Miracle Whip.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I like
we whip
ketchup.
it.
Like I like them in certain situations. But if we're gonna talk like strictly a sandwich, Miracle Whip on pretty much any sandwich. And then if you're doing like
Fuck,
if you're doing a turkey sandwich, throw a little bit of Dijon on there. Not a
Okay.
whole lot, just like a
can
few
do that.
lines of the Dijon on there. Yeah, it just depends. Sometimes you want to go ahead and have like a cordon bleu sandwich. Throw some honey mustard
so
on
hungry. I
there.
didn't eat dinner before this, and this is killing me.
I haven't
Yeah,
eaten
I'm thinking
either,
about
so
it.
I apologize
thinking
in
about food.
advance. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I'm,
We're doing this a little post work, but now we're on the topic of food. After a show, where's BBGUNS going to eat? You got a spot you like to go?
Yeah,
Wendy's.
we do.
It's that Wendy's or
well, that or if
Ritters
it's sit
too.
down or drive through.
Yeah,
If
I
it's-
guess that's a good question.
If it's drive through, then yeah, we always hit that Wen dog. That's but if it's
Yep, the
sit
Wen
down,
dog all day.
it's definitely Squirrel Hill, Eaton Park.
Or Ritters. We've gone to Ritters a couple
We went there
times.
once, twice,
It's like two or three.
twice. We go to Eaton Park. All
But
the
Eden
time.
Park is the usual.
Okay.
We go to Eaton Park usually a lot.
Okay.
Because the salad bar is cheap, but late
Yeah.
at night it's not there. So I always forget that it's not there. So we usually go all, at
Yeah,
the
and
It's
end
like,
of the night.
fuck.
No, hello respect to the Eaton Park. I had my friends on the show. I guess this probably would have been 2 weeks ago at this point that it aired. If not, whatever. But shout outs to Julie and Jerry from Twist of Fate Productions. They are really big on going to Dennys after shows. And I told
Yeah,
them,
we love Dennys
I don't
too.
fuck.
Yeah,
I really don't like
Den Day.
Dennys that
We're
much, but
to-
Dennys is
we
alright.
call it Den
Dennys on
Day.
Denny on the road. Yeah, yeah.
It's because it's comfort. Like sometimes with mom and pop places, it's like an unknown quantity, and like sometimes you just want something you know what the fuck it is.
You know
Fair
exactly
enough.
how many pieces of French
Like,
toast you're going to get.
It's a
know
7
exactly how
or a
many
6.
eggs.
It's a 6 out of 10, or a 5 out of 10. But you know that it ain't a 2 or it ain't expensive, or you know that it ain't expensive.
Yeah.
You know it's like a $10 meal.
I wonder. I feel like I keep on bringing up Dennys and them on like every single episode.
get
People are just gonna
sponsored.
get fucking sick of it.
Den
It was
Day.
actually really funny.
I like Dennys.
I just had
Dennys
them
is
in.
cool.
I had them in here the other day and actually had the Dennys logo on the TV instead of my logo for them, so they felt a little more comfortable
Yeah,
in the
it's
spot.
the
funny.
Grand Slamwich is fire.
Okay.
Moons over Miami, Lumberjack
It's
Slam.
similar.
I got
yeah.
food poisoning from the moons over Miami.
Oh, well, then that'll
Ooh,
change.
yeah, stay
well,
away
then
from
that'll
that then.
change. That'll change
Yeah,
your
you
life.
stay away from that one.
What was it? What were we? There's some,
There's a slam burger. Slam burger with like an egg,
Okay.
egg hash browns on it. That's always solid.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there's
Eaton
a lot
Park,
of solid
man.
items.
Yeah.
Denny's and Eaton Park.
Yeah, Denny's isn't too bad.
I was gonna
you know,
say-
I'll say it. It's not that bad. It's fine. I just like asking people where they're eating. These are the important questions.
I'm a big fan of the salad bar at Eaton Park. So after the live stream, I went to bed. It was 8 in the morning. I woke up at like 4. I was like up and a little bit in between. Only thing I did that day, went to Squirrel Hill Eaton Park, got the salad bar, ate until I was about to roll out of there, went home, went right back to bed.
Hell yeah.
Until work the next day.
Hell yeah.
At 8 a.m.
I fucking
wave.
miss that. Is that Eaton Park still open 24 hours?
No.
They close like super late though. They close at like 5. And they
Yeah.
open
No,
back
we
up at,
were
like,
there
8 or
once and it was
something.
closed. It was like 3.
Was it there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that used to be the goddamn spot, dude.
Ritter's is solid though for
I-
that late night tip.
Yeah, Ritter's is cool. I've only been there once. I always forget that it's there. I've been there like once or twice, maybe. I just always fucking forget it's there.
Yeah, so do we, but we've been now remembering because like all the DIY kids always talk about Ritter's.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. If I lived in like Bloomfield or East Liberty or something, you know, I'd probably be there because it's right there. But like, I'm on this side of town. I'm on the north side, so
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like,
that's
true.
a,
You
that's a
typically
journey.
my late night spot is like the Strip District Permanis.
Oh yeah.
So like that's probably where I'll go if it's like after 2 and I'm hungry.
That place
That's
is
how
fucking
late's that
jam-packed.
place?
They're open 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, the one. The first
Strip
one.
District one, and it's like never crazy in there. It's always chill, and like
Yeah,
the people in there are nice
the
as
vibe
hell.
is usually pretty chill.
It's
in there.
chill. It's nice. It's cheap.
Even at its
Sign me the fuck up.
even at its busiest, like everybody's always like nice and cool. And,
Yeah.
and cool. It's impressive, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a world of difference. You know what I mean? A place could have the best food in the world, or a band could be the best band in the world. But if I get like the slightest breeze of attitude, I'm like, fuck them. I don't care how good you are at what you do. You know what I mean?
That's the wildest thing ever. I think I think that's even like a thing more so in this day and age, especially with like music people and stuff. It's like there used to be, I know even for me, like that, I was used to be real big on trying to separate like the artist from the person, because, you know, like if someone made something great, they made something great. There's nothing I can do about it, you know, but at the same time, it's sometimes we have to really look at that and be like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
That's the same thing. That's the same thing with me. Like, an easy example that comes to mind right now that may not resonate with either of you would be there's a metal band called As LA Dying.
I remember them.
I'm familiar with
I remember them back in the day, but
Well,
I know they've been active since.
The vocalist went to prison because he put a hit out on his wife.
Yeah, I remember that. I read this.
And then he got caught.
Weren't they
and
like
all
a
this-
Christian
death
metal band?
Yeah. And he got
Shit.
caught and he went to jail, and now he's out of jail and the band's back together and they're touring. And there's a lot of people that are really excited because a lot of people really like that band. And I'm like, okay, yeah, fine. They were a
But
band.
it was
but
tr-
for me, it's like there are enough other bands in that genre that like I don't need to give them money or my attention. And also, how am I supposed to take any of your values seriously?
How's he out of
Given-
prison already?
But also, I mean, because nothing actually happened. It was, you know.
Oh, they found out before anything.
Yeah.
actually
He
went
didn't.
down, so it was just
Yeah.
like, aha, got you.
Yeah. And I mean,
okay.
yeah, he didn't actually kill anybody. He just put the hit out, and then it was fine. It all got it got found out before it was too late. But I do believe also I'm
shit.
coming
No harm,
from
no foul, I guess.
coming from the perspective of I think everybody deserves, like, there should be a path to forgiveness for people, but I just don't think that, like, I personally am gonna have any interest ever in supporting him in his artistic endeavors, regardless of like whatever path he's on now. I just don't care. There's enough other art that I can support from people that are way better.
Yeah, I'd say that's a
Yeah.
reason to cancel somebody.
Yeah, like everybody has a line. Like it's up to the individual to determine what your line is, you know? Like if that's what it is for some people. Obviously there are people that were like, it was like, oh, well, like nothing actually happened, whatever. Like if that's how they feel, then so be it,
Yeah, it just
but
kinda
I couldn't do it either.
It says a lot about yourself as a person, I think, to like know that somebody did that and then still want to, like, I don't know. I guess you could forgive him, but for me, it's just like, I don't know. It's just kind of corny.
I think
'Cause I think he has like kids and shit, and it's just like, damn, like that sucks. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
that's some
Like,
wild shit.
yeah,
That is
you
some
know,
wild
like
ass
that's
shit.
just, it just says a lot about your character, man.
I think it can depend on your relationship, I think, with an artist or a person, Like I think about Kanye for me, and
That's a big one.
I wonder, like, what is the line? What could he do that I'm like, no, I'm not going to listen to your next album, even if it's good, even because I think everything he's made is good. But there's going to come a day where he's going to do something wild, and if it's still a good album, and I have to make a judgment call. It's not MAGA hat. Apparently, it's not whatever. And like I hate all that shit. But like I loved what he made after that, and it just like washed it all away. And I don't know where's the line? Where is the line? And I would say putting a hit on your wife that's the line.
Yeah.
That's definitely over that line.
That was the thing for me. The line was like, oh, you're preaching this message through your music, and then in your real life, you're a 180. Not saying that everybody is who they are in their art, but for me in that position, I just felt like
You're
it was just
he's
so
a
like,
attempted
No, that's
murderer.
it's
that's a
just-
complete
it's like-
180.
He's
It's
an
just like-
attempted murderer.
it's just like, it's like corny. You know what I mean? It's like, how am I?
It's
And like
baffling.
metal is like, you figure like a front man in a metal band, there's like kind of like a sense of like power and real, like, yeah, like, and if you're, spreading this positive message with that power, there's great responsibility in that, I think.
It's cult stuff,
especially
man.
for like younger people that are listening to it.
Yeah.
And then in your real life to be like, oh, I can't handle my problems enough to talk something out. I need to attempt to murder somebody regardless of like whatever's going on in your headspace. I just don't think that like he should be back and forgiven on, just whatever. It's just not for me.
Oh, I certainly don't. I certainly.
It's just not
agree
for
with
me.
you.
I think I'm just speaking more to anybody out there that might be listening to this that is like, yeah, I like As LA Dying. It's like, okay, whatever, cool, do you. Have fun at the show or whatever. But it's just like, not for me.
Cult of personality.
I'm also not going to, shove my viewpoints down anybody's throat. Anybody could do whatever they could do whatever the fuck they want, but
it's objectively the right one in my opinion. But
if you ever ask me, you're on the right side of history.
Well, word. I appreciate that, but it's whatever. So now let's pivot using a trendy word. Let's pivot back to BBGUNS. Let's talk about metalcore bands with shitty people. Let's talk.
Yeah,
talk about,
that's our wheelhouse.
yeah, let's talk about something a little bit more relevant. So, as I've mentioned before, you've been on the show. We've talked about your history and all of those things, but you do have a new album out.
Yeah.
So let's take a quick moment to just plug that album and let people know, where they can find it and what it's called.
It's called Help Yourself. It's on everything.
There you go. There you have it.
That's that.
And
Yeah.
you collaborated with a pretty decent handful of producers on this project. Let's talk about them.
Three. I think it was three. It was actually less than the last one.
Okay.
Hayek Keach, Logan Sound, and Charlie Scott. And then and then we worked.
There's a couple of accompaniments.
Like some people helped out with like guitars and stuff. We had like for certain tracks we'd have players come in. And then like Shay Park, Mo Monadon, and Hubs were the featured vocalists. It's pretty sweet.
Cool.
I think it's better than our last one.
Yeah.
For what it's worth.
We had talked a little bit on the live stream after my set about the album just a bit. And you had mentioned that you felt that this project was a lot more focused than Thirst was in terms of like a cohesive sound or body of work.
Yeah, I'd say so. Even like there's still like the variants, like there's still the dance tracks and there's still like there's a couple slow jams, but yeah, I think the sounds are cohesive. I think we're more confident with our ideas and the choices that we're making much more than we were in the last one.
It's kind of wild how long it could take to really find that voice. And I know that, even with, the two of you kind of went through, a little bit of a journey just to get where you are now musically, trying to figure out, we're doing rap stuff and then we're going to do this indie rock sample based project, you know what I mean? And I think that really ended up defining a lot of your sound in the long run.
Yeah, it really
If
did.
you wouldn't have done that, that would have been when you were going under the name Lazy Blackman. That was
the Rock Lobster.
The Rock Lobster EP or LP. How many was it an LP?
It was
There was
first
an
an
EP,
it was
then
an
there was
EP
an LP.
originally, and then we turned it into a full album after
Okay.
that.
All right.
Or a mixtape. It was a mixtape.
I feel like I remember it as EP, but whatever.
It was EP originally.
okay.
It was because we put it out in two halves.
Okay, yeah.
But when the second half came out, we just repackaged it as one long thing. But yeah, that definitely is what set the like we figured that out that was what worked for us, and now we just been trying to find that, but with original music. How can we recreate that with original stuff, and then adding our own things to it too?
Yeah. And with, all this time spent now over the years together, what do you think is one of the biggest things that, the two of you have learned from each other with working together over the course of like these, we'll say 3 projects, even though only 2 are BBGUNS. I would consider like Rock Lobster,
Yeah, it's
Rock
definitely
Lobster like a
part of
BBGUNS
It's
project.
part of the lore. It's definitely a part of the lore.
Yeah.
Proto Thirst.
Yeah. So like, what have you two learned about like working with each other? And how do you like maintain a healthy relationship? Because I think that's a really hard thing for people in bands.
This is a trap question.
No, we just I know for me it's just I have to go ahead and make sure that just hold things down on my end. Going ahead and making sure that I'm like taking the time to really whatever it is, whatever ideas that I present, whatever verses that I present, whatever parts, whatever, is just like I really go ahead and think them out, plan them out, and just have like something that's like a tangible idea, not just like, oh yeah, I want to go ahead and fucking do this. Well, but I don't even know if I can do it yet. So it's just like really going ahead and bringing that to the table.
Just figuring out the division of labor and the roles, and we've kind of fell into roles for sure, and there's a lot of we trust each other with what we do, and I don't know, it definitely can be hard at times for sure. It can definitely get rough, but I think that we're able to get through it because of we know each other so well. I think that is honestly the biggest thing, is that we've been friends for so long and we know each other so well. We know like idiosyncrasies. He knows when I'm freaking out sometimes I'm freaking out and I need to just be let alone, or if I know like, when to, get involved with him or whatever. It's just,
I think it's really important to actually know the people that you are working with in a band or any environment, but we'll stick to just band talk because that's what we're dealing with right now. And just know like the nuance of like what's going on in their lives, like know like what's actually happening with them outside of the project. That way, you know how to communicate with them and you know how to navigate things when like you're nagging somebody about something. You know what I mean? Maybe maybe I shouldn't nag them because they're going through X, Y, or Z, or A, B, or C.
Yeah,
happen.
that's
just
definitely
actually just like keeping in touch with each other.
Yeah, a freak out whenever someone has like something going on is far different than someone just freaking out to freak out, because it can be like, all right, well, I know that you're going through something, so like I'm not gonna bug out, but I need to make sure that I like tell you what it is and what it isn't the right way, and knowing how to communicate with each other, knowing how to communicate with people in general. The right way is very important.
Yeah.
And picking and choosing when to go ahead and like play your cards and like say something and when to just like leave it alone. That's also like crucial.
Find a better opportunity. Yeah. Cause like I know sometimes I want to address stuff like as soon as it's happening, and sometimes that's not the way. If you gotta find a good time to talk about it.
You gotta let people breathe sometimes.
Now with the two of you and being like a hip hop duo, does practice factor into what you do? Do you have like a band practice? Do you ever like run the set? No,
never.
Never.
Only with new songs. When we have a new song, we practice it. So the first time isn't terrible, but we usually gig.
Play so much that shows are practice.
Yeah, we gig so much the shows become rehearsal. And I think if you're playing shows a lot, that it's just a routine. And introducing new songs into the set absolutely needs to be practiced, and we thought that we didn't need to do that, and we've had sets with new songs and they were terrible. I think with our release show last year at Karma that we could have probably rehearsed the songs better, and I don't like, I feel like now the way we perform them songs is so much better than when they first came out.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was an impression of people to some people.
That's the thing that like I caught myself being a fellow rapper. If anybody doesn't know, I've rapped from time to time. Anybody out there? Hi, Sykes and the New Violence. Check us out.
I like that plug.
Yeah, it was completely unnecessary and totally masturbatory. But one thing that I caught myself doing was something really similar, and then thinking about how it was different when I was playing in bands, because it's like, we won't even record a song until we fucking have like rehearsed it and rehearsed it and rehearsed it, and you learn it and you learn it and you know it and you know it. And it's like, if you were to even like re-record some of your verses from like Thirst or fucking Rock Lobster now, think about all the different nuance and inflection that would be in it, that would be like it would sound so sick. And I feel like that's a problem that a lot of people in the hip hop community have, is that they don't allow themselves the opportunity to
get comfortable with it.
Get comfortable and really learn the songs, because for one, band practice just isn't a thing that we do, and two, it's all about got to get it out now, got to get it out fast.
Yeah,
do it. You don't even have time to really like learn and like become comfortable with the material.
I think we definitely are aware of that. We with songs that we really like, we try to start performing before we record them. And I think what happens is we stop performing them for a period while the song's being mixed and recorded and it's sitting, it's not done. And then by the time we are ready to introduce it, we forgot all that. So like we definitely are aware of that. Like I know how our performance is something that people seem to like. So we want to like make sure we're capturing that energy in our deliveries in the recordings.
It's so hard, I find, also because, you guys have a very a very raw and energetic performance.
Yeah.
And it can be really hard to capture that in the studio environment without it, sounding super sterile.
Yeah.
And like, what are some of the things that you've done to maybe combat that?
I think Thirst, that is a weakness in some cases. But with the new stuff, I think that's what we try. We like what I just was saying. We try to like perform the songs a little bit. Obviously, we can't do that with everything.
Yeah.
We definitely didn't do that with everything. But just like practicing before recording. Like that's what I say to. I think we had started a rule last time where it was like you need to be able to say your verse off the top of your head without looking at your sheet.
Oh fuck yeah!
And
dude.
if you are that rehearsed, then you have the nuances down.
It helps a lot
because you're like you're if you're into it that much, then you can act. And that's what I add. Like I always say, like the acting part of it,
and being able to record verses without having to like chunk it out. Like it's always been a huge pet peeve of mine when I listen to recordings and I could tell that like they've recorded like bars at a time because you can hear like the breaths coming in and out. It's like, oh God, it just sounds so corny to me. A lot of people won't even notice it, but like I can tell, I can hear it.
A lot of people that do that just like make sure they pay that extra money to their engineer. Make sure they sound like extra good.
Yeah, we only use that as that's a last resort. If we're like,
that's been a rule for
really plugging away at it.
Sometimes it could sound cool on a song, depending if it's intentional and you're like doing something with an effect, or maybe you're panning the voices out. Like you could do cool things with it. So I don't want to I don't want to poo-poo anybody, saying like in terms of production, I think you could do a lot of cool things where things like that aren't necessary. But at the same time, I do definitely agree that do that verse. Don't have to look at a piece of paper and just like be able to just like really let loose on the mic. And that's the best way you're going to be able to get like a really raw, organic performance.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So you think it's not like when people are, well, maybe some people, but in bands, it's not like they're like looking at every single little note on sheet music when they're playing. You know what I mean? Chances are they probably know the fucking shit unless they're like hired guns.
Well, that's something. Sorry, I have one more thing. So sorry. Working with players, I didn't realize how like much people need to rehearse. To like, they can't just come over. We write a part together, and they can just record it perfectly right then and there. Like usually, like we come up with a part, they go home, they work out the kinks, they practice it, they come back, and even then, like sometimes it takes a lot of takes. Like I thought it would be easier than rapping. I thought it wouldn't take as many takes, but like the timing of things, that's a big thing. And that's something we were messing with is like different rhythms sometimes, not having like a consistent loop the whole time through. And it was hard. It was harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I find that it could be really, really hard to conform to something that you didn't write yourself. You know what I mean? Like if you are starting a song or a beat or whatever yourself, it's like you understand the rhythm in a way that's like ingrained in you because it came from you. But if you're a player playing on, a set of chords and progressions that somebody else wrote, unless it just happens to like naturally jive with something you would do, it could be really weird just feeling that nuance to like lock yourself into the beat, like locking yourself into somebody else's spiritual rhythm. It's complicated at times.
No, I can I guess I'm learning that from the other perspective. Yeah, it's wild because like the more and more control we want to have over things, we have to rely on other people to do it and to like interpret those ideas. And it's cool and we're learning a lot all the time, but also need to know when like I'm asking for stuff that people either need more time to figure out or they just can't do.
Yeah, it's I like to use the you always want to make sure that the people that you are asking to collaborate with, that they are the right people for what you want to do. You know what I mean? It's like
that's something I ran into a lot being younger. Like I want like an indie rock, like distorted guitar, like power chord riff. And like, I got like this funky shredding guy and like, he just doesn't play like that. That's not
what he does.
Yeah. I'm asking, it's like a fork and a spoon. Yeah.
That's good. Fork and a spoon. So now with everything that you guys do, if you don't know, it's pretty, genre isn't something that's a huge focus, I think, for BBGUNS.
Nope.
In terms of the music that you produce or the bands that you play with. And what I'm really curious about is like how you feel about genre-based communities. Because even if like you yourself don't really play ball on any particular team, it's really easy to kind of get wrapped up in somebody else's team and then still get stuck in a bubble. And what have you guys done, or are you stuck in a bubble? I was gonna ask, like, what have you done to maybe try to avoid that, or have you found yourselves kind of being in a bubble? But sometimes being in a bubble isn't always a bad thing.
I mean, being in a bubble isn't a bad thing if it works for you.
Yeah.
Like if you're the hottest act in the metal scene, you're the hottest act in the metal scene. And if that works for you and you can live off of that and get what you need out of it, then so be it. But just like us being how we are, like we're just very like eclectic guys to begin with. Like it's very important to try to balance things out and try not to do, like even with doing shows, like not do too much of one thing over a course of time. Like if we need to not do so many like DIY house shows, if we know that we have like one or two coming up, we should maybe we should go ahead and skip this one so we're not like oversaturating ourselves over here. Maybe we should do this show that's over here instead, and just try to like balance that out as far as the scheduling and things goes.
Yeah, it's trying to have a good rotation of doing stuff in different scenes, but at the same time, like I find us wanting that. I know I want to have our cake and eat it too, where I don't want to be labeled as one thing, but I want to be a part of the hip hop scene. Like I wish that we were considered a part of the group, because we play with them sometimes when we like them, but like also we actively don't play with them a lot too. So like
I can relate.
Yeah, I know you can. But and like they all know us and they like us and whatever. But at the same time, like people identify us as something else. And I don't know if it's always because of the sound or if it's because of our choices of how we play shows.
Yeah. No, Mr. Barz, you had referenced playing house shows. And I wanted to talk with the two of you about, the use of alternative space for shows in DIY venues and how that affects you. Because much like myself, it's like, sometimes if you're just a punk band, you could play pretty much wherever and it's going to be fine. But for us, if we play a place and it has like half of a PA hanging by a thread, it could be like the end of our set. When you find yourselves in an environment like that, do you just kind of roll with it, or do you get stressed out by it? Like, how do you handle those situations in alternative venue spaces?
Both. I definitely get anxious. I assume if they booked us, they have what we need. Sometimes
that's a really bad assumption.
No, sometimes that's not always the case. I make sure I bring mics and XLRs, but and like our cords to hook up with to whatever. Like we just played a garage. And it had just two PAs. There was no mixing board. So we could only plug like one mic into each PA.
The music could only come through like one side.
Yeah, the music only came through one PA.
Side, and then there's only vocals on the other side. And it was like my vocals and the music off of one speaker. It was
So what we did is we pushed the PAs to the middle of the room.
Okay.
So that like the least they were coming
all the sound
together.
was coming from the same spot.
Yeah. So at least like it wasn't like jarring, because like people have suggested that before and it was weird because you could just hear a voice off to the side. But you got to roll with the punches too. That's what you sign up for.
Especially if you're on that, that indie grind. You don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, we can do whatever it is we can do to be prepared on our end. Like how JP said, like we'll go ahead and bring mics and cables and XLRs and everything that we can. But it's not like we at the same time. Or do y'all really want us to go ahead and like lug like the whole niner?
Yeah,
around all the time, like at least have like a little.
Yeah, I bought a couple 18-inch PA speakers for us to have.
Yeah, I know. I was just gonna say, I know like Hikeech and them and like Mister and like people. They have their own whole they bring a board and two PAs on the road just in case.
Yeah.
Because they have it. But it'd be nice because if you're in that situation, no, I'm good.
Yeah, I think that the other thing that's cool about that too, that I've found just from the time that I've had it is, okay, it's like, well, the speakers, the gear, exactly where everything needs to be set. So it's going to sound good because you know what it sounds like and you know what you need. So it's just a matter of the biggest barrier to entry is just buying the shit.
Yeah.
So, and then you just got to have this. Then you got to have the space to haul it. You know what I mean?
We have a tiny car.
Yeah.
Our tour car is tiny. and it's good on gas.
That's what's most important.
Yeah, it's great
that's
on gas.
That's the exchange. But it's great on gas. Can't lug anything except the essentials.
Again, though, I think that it really just rewind the conversation, and one of you had earlier had just, I think we all touched on about communication and how that's important. And I think it's just a matter of communicating with the people that are running these shows beforehand and just getting an idea of what you're getting into.
Yeah, that's also a big part of it, is like trying to get the lay of the land, do some recon so you can know what it is and what it isn't. Because then, like, if there's ever a case, you do that, and if there's a case where you find out where someone doesn't really have like what you need, then maybe that's the chance for you to either be like, okay, well, I still want to do this. Let me see if maybe I can like know someone and I can like make this happen, and we could just like bring some gear with us.
Yeah. Or
maybe it's just like, we don't have the gear. If you don't have it, then you don't even have to waste someone else's time. Then they can just go ahead and you can nip it in the bud early before it even becomes a
I
issue.
should probably do that more often, honestly. Making sure they have stuff. I think sometimes places assume because it's rap it'll be easy, and then they don't, or like just because it's a laptop that it'll be easy, and sometimes it's harder than.
Yeah, I think we talked about that on your live stream. We had this. I know I had this conversation recently, and I think it was us. I think we had talked about this, just about how like sometimes the levels of your beats aren't quite accurate or the same, so people will walk away.
Yeah, that's why. Because I said that. Yeah, our all of our instrumentals aren't mastered the same. So like a sound person will be like, oh, I fixed their levels. So the first song, they sit for the first song, it's good. And they walk away for the rest of the set. And then like things go off, things can get different, and then it sucks.
Yeah, that always bugs me, but I guess I've never worked sound, 24/7 at a venue, and I'm sure that some of those dudes are happy to have a break or whatever.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it's like it's your fucking job to sit behind the board. Just make sure things are fine.
Yeah, it happens more to us at DIY venues, not like local ones, but on tour. And it's happened once here at a place that doesn't exist anymore. But it's happened on tour a few times.
Yeah.
I remember we played in Chicago once, and the sound man did exactly that, like sound guy. It was just, they lived there. It was like a hostel that was an apartment. It was some wild progressive ass shit. But anyways, the guy would like set our sound and just walked away, and he's like, you guys are good. And then everything was fucked. Nothing worked. I had to fix everything essentially. And I didn't know what I was doing.
I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah, honestly, those situations though, I've learned how to run sound because of it.
That's good to know.
Yeah,
Skill.
like now there used to be times you just get thrown into the deep end with a box of chords, and they're just like, here you go, figure it out. It's happened multiple times.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna name any names, but there was a place in Pittsburgh, and it is like a more commercial venue. Like they book stuff at their place, and that's what they do. They hand you there's a closet with PAs in it, and they hand you a box of cables and a board, and they say, go, have fun, set up.
And you just have to figure it out.
And you run your own sound for your own set during your set.
Okay. Tight.
And you have to put it all away, which we did not do. We did not do.
Drew the line. It's like,
so
we'll build it, but we're not gonna put it back.
This actually segues into a really great question that I had for the two of you. And this would be the balance of business and party. How do you handle
business in the front, party in the back? All right, next question.
If BBGUNS was a haircut, you'd be a mullet.
Next question. That's how you balance it, baby.
Like a Jerry curl mullet, though.
That's how you balance it.
Yeah, but
sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's fine. It was totally worth it. But it's just a matter of how do you balance, situations like that and still having a good time? And then on the flip, all the behind the scenes stuff, setting up shows, tours, getting albums released, all those sort of things like that. Just that balance of business and party. How do you guys deal with all that?
We don't really party, and it's kind of can be a problem on the road.
Yeah, that's probably the thing that kicks us in the ass.
Yeah,
for sure. At least on the road. Yeah.
Yeah, like if we play at a house that is a party house, and the show is a party, there's a venue and there's a space for the venue, bands and everything, and that's all cool. But when the show stops, the party don't.
and everybody like wants you to be a part of it.
Well, and when you're on tour,
you just can't even sleep.
Well, exactly. When you're on tour, usually you're staying at the house venue. So yeah, you're fucked. You don't get to sleep. You're up all night. God forbid if people are doing, cocaine or something.
Sure.
Like it's just, you're screwed. One time we were at a place, we just had to walk. We went to a diner, a 24-hour diner. We ate, we sat, we went back. It was still going. We ended up slept
in the car.
In a tiny ass car. In the fetal position.
Because it was honestly that there was another touring band that also played at this spot, and they tried to trooper it out.
Sleep on the floor.
They were sleeping on the floor in the living room in the middle of this party.
Still going.
There's people raging around them. They all have like headphones in, and on top of that, there is a band playing in the basement. Like there's just some people like jamming in the basement.
Around. They were just like
they're just jamming
after the show.
Around.
Like, I'm gonna play with the drums after the show.
And so every time there was like a bass hit or like a drum just got hit in period, this one kid is just like twitching. I felt so bad. I was just like, it looked like something that you would see in like a World War II war movie where people are still shelling, but then someone's just like trying to sleep, but they're just like, oh yeah, it was wild.
It was not a fun night. I mean, it was a really fun show, and we had we're going back. We're going back.
Yeah,
it was a great. We're not hating. It was a good time, but that's some things that we have to. Those are things that we've had to learn how to like deal with because that's not how we roll.
Especially like having daytime jobs. We're not wired for nightlife. We get up. He works early, and I work at 8 to 4. I'm not used to staying up till 3 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 3 in the morning. Yeah. If I did more of the 24-hour live streams, I'd be good at it. But unfortunately,
that's the same thing that happens a lot, especially with Grey Walker when we're on the road, because we've just been in positions where people are like, what's going on after? What are you doing? Or people invite us to stay at their places, but it's like we always get hotels.
We can't afford that.
And it's just like, because
I guess having that many people would be easier, a little bit easier.
It's easier. And, we're just we're in a fortunate position with Grey Walker where like the band can pay for it. But, but since we are paying for hotels, we really make money on like coming back as a band. You know what I mean? It's all like a whole lot of breaking even from guarantees and stuff like that. But for us, it's like we're all in our fucking 30s and we don't feel like just being at some house that we don't know, stuck on couches or on floors and things like that. And it just sucks for us.
Oh yeah, I would love to get to that the guarantee level. Like
I can handle it personally. I don't mind it, and it's definitely happened with Sykes more than enough times. But yeah, with the Grey Walker stuff and just being in like having 4 other dudes and then whoever else is with us like all on the road. It's so hard to get everybody be like, yo, you want to sleep in this stranger's house? It's like, oh, fuck that.
Well, like even the people that you tour with like have different schedules. Like we just toured with the Zelles and like we wanted to go to bed after the show and like they're watching TV and blasting the TV until like early in the morning. Not raging, they're just chilling. Like
not raging.
Yeah, they're just chilling, but like the TV's blasting. They're all having fun. They see that we're trying to sleep. But then I was like, God damn.
But luckily, I have like this superpower where I can like sleep like under any conditions.
Yeah, he's good at sleeping.
Like
I'm not.
Like that night in particular, that he's talking about, I didn't even like bust out my pillow and my blanket. I just like put it like behind me, like behind my head, and just like got comfy enough and was just like, and
he can shut down like an Android. Like he can turn off like
hell yeah.
I could just turn all the way off and then just wake up in the morning like, all right, you ready? Let's go.
I do find that the more we do it, the easier it gets. Like I'm not as like picky about how I sleep as I used to be, just because of having to sleep on random floors or through sounds. I used to be a very light sleeper, and I'm much better about it.
Yeah, I can also sleep through pretty much anything, so I'm with you.
So jealous.
Yeah, it's a great power to have in situations.
So jealous.
Part of me used to like hate it because I would like have like I'd be like at home with like a girl or something, and I'd be like watch a movie, and I'd end up just being like and then I'm just out,
like
and just letting anybody. Yeah, like and nothing.
He's like
ever
Mr.
happen.
Bean.
Like you just fall asleep.
Yeah, like if it's like if it's like dark out and you put on a movie for me, because I'm so used to doing it over the years of watching movies to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Like if I'm comfortable enough, I'll just pass right out easy.
Okay.
No questions asked.
I always have a really, really hard fucking time falling asleep, but once I'm asleep, I have a really hard time waking up. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Once I start pushing 24 hours of like being awake, that's whenever it really starts to get like, okay, my body's like, you need to just like shut down like right now.
Yeah, I could do that shit when I was younger. I can't do it now.
Hell no.
I'm up for like 20 hours and like my throat starts hurting. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like my whole body's like, nope.
I just know I'm ready for sleep. Like
Yeah.
I can do it, but then as soon as I can get to my bed, I'll just walk right in and just lay on it and go right to sleep.
I can
for at least 6.
I can stay up late if I know that the light at the end of the tunnel of my bed is going to be there. But on tour, you don't have that. There's just like the anxiety of I'm going to have to roll the dice again tomorrow night. Like I didn't get sleep this night. Tomorrow night, I hope I get some sleep. And then tomorrow night comes and it's, a weird situation and you don't get to sleep either that night.
Yeah.
It sucks. I can't wait till we get to if and when we get to a point where we can have at least a hotel. I thought about I got a tent. I thought about if in like an emergency, like finding some kind of like, I don't know where you can go if like there's parks or something, and just popping that shit up and going to bed right there instead of having to deal with the party fucking.
Yeah, we're so with Grey Walker, we're real big on the hot wire deals. We use hot wire pretty much all the time.
Oh yeah,
Got you.
So it's like, you know what I mean? It's always like, you get we get fucking, really, really nice rooms, and it's only like $75 for the night.
yeah,
Shit,
yeah.
that's fire.
So yeah, we did get a motel once in a show in Kentucky, and it was a horrible
terrible
place.
experience.
The AC was broken.
Yeah,
it was
motels
hot.
can be rough.
Yeah, it was rough. It was a pet friendly motel, so everything just stank like dog.
And it was under construction too, so it was like, yeah, it was.
It's probably perpetually under construction.
It was like
Oh, yeah.
$40 though for the night.
Yeah.
Then I know for me that night, the light at the end of the tunnel was like, oh, well, you know what? They're going to have like a little like freaky dink, whatever complimentary breakfast. I was like, all right, so maybe I'll at least be able to wake up and like get like an apple and a cup of coffee and at least be like a decent, like not even a great cup of coffee, just like a decent cup.
It was like
Worst cup of coffee I ever had. They only went to Walmart and bought one thing of fucking miniature pastries because they were all fucking gone.
They were like
The fruit was a little sus. Like it was
bruised fruit.
Yeah, it was just like I need to go somewhere to get a fucking cup of coffee and something to eat. This is some bullshit.
Yeah. Shout outs to Dennys.
Dende.
That Dende.
That Dende will heal
Dende
you.
for life.
Dende will heal you.
Yo, speaking at lights at the end of tunnels, we hit our hour. So I think we're going to be wrapping up here.
No.
BBGUNS. Help yourself. It's available now
Smell yourself.
on, the internet. On Spotify, Apple, Google,
All of it.
YouTube,
SoundCloud,
If
Bandcamp.
you listen to music on it, it's probably there.
Yeah, so
exists.
go help yourself to some tasty treats of funky beats.
Hey, I like that.
And is there anything that you two would care to plug before we, pull the plug?
We'll be doing a collaboration for the second Fresh Fest in Pittsburgh this year.
Oh fuck, we didn't talk about that
Yeah,
at all.
I was just thinking about that.
Well, here it is. We'll do a quick plug. Yeah, we're doing a collab with Mindful Brewing.
Fresh Fest, August 10th.
Yep, August 10th. Come on out. Come find us. Drink some of our beer. Tell if it's trash or not. You know what I mean?
Do you know what kind of beer you're gonna do yet?
I think it's
citrusy. I know that, and it's like it's lighter. I don't know anything
I
else.
think they said it'll be like
besides
a
that.
grapefruit base.
We're actually going
flavor-wise.
there tomorrow.
Okay,
to
cool.
meet with them.
Yeah, to
Cool.
really hash it all out.
Awesome. So that catch him at Fresh Fest, August 10th. Shout outs to Dave Bracey.
The guy.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Shout outs to Ed too, and everybody else on the Fresh Fest crew. Yeah, and I guess that's pretty much about it.
All right. Peace.
And that is all, folks. Thanks so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. JP, Barz, BBGUNS, one more time. Make some noise for them.
Hey.
I'll be back again next week with another episode. Same time, same place, same channel. You know the drill. My name is Sykes. Start the beat 2019. Woo, woo. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Cool. That's it. We did it.
Word.